On Estuary News tonight, a man dies following a collision in Grimsby, the world's biggest offshore wind farm on the east coast, and barge pulling in Beverley. And later in tonight's programme, I'll be talking to Curtis Hogarth and Ted Stanley about a writing competition. Before that, Michael Nilsen returns with Gorky. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Monday's programme with me, Luke Adams. A man has died following a serious collision in Grimsby. The incident happened on Saturday afternoon around 4:30 on the A18 at the junction with Newking Lane. The 77-year-old man was driving a blue Ford Focus Zetec, which collided with a grey Hyundai Santa Fe. He died at the scene. Police are appealing for witnesses. Dong Energy has been awarded a contract to build the world's largest offshore wind farm. Hornsea Project 2 will be built 89 kilometres from the Yorkshire coast and is expected to be operational from 2022. The project will contribute significantly to Dong Energy's ambition of reaching a total offshore wind capacity of 11 to 12 gigawatts by 2025. More police are to be visible in Hull to provide greater reassurance to the community. It comes after the attempted rape of a woman in the cemetery on Springbank West on Saturday night. Police are continuing to gather evidence in relation to the incident and are appealing for anyone with information to come forward to help with enquiries. New figures released today show that people in Yorkshire and the Humber will suffer from mental health provision. The Royal College of Psychiatrists says there's a discrepancy in access to mental health treatment via the NHS across the UK. Across our region, there's only 5 psychiatrists per 100,000 people. 21,000 new mental health posts are expected to be created in England by 2021. Beverley will stage the 3rd annual World Barge Pulling Championships. The event invites barge pullers from across the world to the historic market town's Canal Beverley Beck. The event takes place on the 24th of September. Ian Campbell, chair of the Beverley Barge Preservation Society, hopes this year's event will see their biggest turnout yet.
We discovered that there was no other organisation, although there were other people doing barge pulling in a different sort of way. Nobody else had staked a claim on a world title. And we do feel we've justified that because we have had teams from other countries, even though it only be Wales. We are a registered charity, and so we need to raise funds. But also we want to do something that provides some interest in the town itself. The idea was very much that we wanted a community event that would encourage the crowds to come down and see it, but would also raise us some funds along the way. We've been very fortunate that the last 2 years have been sponsored for us, so some of the financial pressures have been taken off us, in that we get a contribution that covers most of the setting up costs. And then we are able to actually raise funds. This year, the primary funding is to go towards a disabled lift for our trip boat Son. The fact that people get enjoyment out of either the visits or the things like the barge pull is a tremendous bonus, and it's important that we pay back to the community the support that they give us.
There's a new boss at the helm of Humberside Fire and Rescue Service. Chris Blaxall has taken over as Fire Chief from Dean Sanders, who has retired after 31 years' service in post. Mr Blaxall is looking to expand the service firefighters provide as one of his key priorities. Panto Fever is already getting underway in Grimsby. The Auditorium are planning another show for the Christmas period with the magical tale of Cinderella. It stars Britain's Got Talent finalist John Clegg, who plays Buttons, and a warning that the following interview contains some flash photography.
It's Cinderella, which is of course the most magical pantomime of them all. It's a classic story. I play Buttons, the comedy idiot, never gets to snog the princess, but never mind. Of course we're battling against the 2 ugly sisters, who everyone needs to boo loudly. And then we'll get to go to the ball, and we all live happily ever after. I have played just up the road in Cleethorpes. Oh yes, I did a little show on the Cleethorpes Pier a few years ago with football manager Ron Atkinson, and I used to do a lot of gigs around the Haven holiday parks as well, so I've been to the one at Thorpe Park a few times, so I know the area reasonably well. I always worked as a cabaret act for many, many years, just getting on stage and telling jokes and doing impressions, and I just fancied doing something a little bit different. And this was, like I say, 18 years ago that I auditioned for pantomime, and it just seemed to be something that I was naturally made to do, because I absolutely loved it. And when, like me, you're a solo cabaret act travelling around on your own, it's lovely to spend some time on stage with other people, you know, just for that little 4 to 6 weeks over Christmas time. It's a great time of year.
And the production will be staged at the Grimsby Auditorium from the 15th until the 28th of December. I'm joined now by my first guest this evening, Michael Nilsen, to share a reading from his latest publication, Gorky. Good evening, Michael. Welcome back to the programme. Thank you very much indeed for coming in. Hit me with your recital.
OK, straight into it. What this is, Gorky has met the first tribe in the Forest of Life after traversing the desert, and it's a satire on how some people, no matter what you say and do, will always criticise you. And Gorky's been as polite as he can be, but the poo-poo tribe are twisting it around all the time. "Excuse me," I said. "I hope I'm not interrupting, but..." "Poo-poo, poo-poo, poo-poo," the men continued, oblivious to my presence. "Excuse me," I said a little louder. "I hope I'm not interrupting, but..." "You hope you're not interrupting?" one suddenly replied. "Yes, you interrupt us to tell us you hope you're not interrupting," another said. "How two-faced," another one said. "I'm sorry," I apologised. "It's just that..." "You're sorry," said another. "If you were going to be sorry, why did you do it in the first place?" said someone else. "Yes, why?" said one more. "Look, all I want to know is if I'm going in the right direction to Lake Sacradia." "Lake what?" said one. "Lake Sacradia. I'm on a quest and..." With that, they all began chanting, "Poo-poo, poo-poo."
Michael, thank you very much. Wonderfully recited. Why did you pick that particular extract to read out on air this evening?
Because that's the first tribe he meets in the Forest of Life, and I just thought it was indicative of the whole book, how I'm satirising certain character traits.
Okay. Now, the book is obviously entitled Gorky.
Yes.
Who is Gorky?
Well, Gorky is a water carrier in the village, and he goes around the village relatively unnoticed. And really, it's about how just ordinary people can turn out to be heroes and do extraordinary things.
Okay. Have you done many extraordinary things in your life? Because you only got into writing fairly recently, didn't you?
Well, I've been writing for about 20 years, but I've only started getting published in the last 3 years. So,
okay.
Yeah. Well, I've run the marathon, and I've boxed, and I've done voluntary work for the Samaritans and Luton Mencat. So I draw on them life experiences when I write.
So did they help you with some of the stories and themes you illustrate in the books, and obviously your poetry as well?
Definitely, because you meet all sorts of people in real life, and I mean, I wouldn't make it explicit who they are, but you can take character traits from certain people. I might even do it to you, Lou.
Thank you. I look forward to that moment, Michael. Now, tell me, who would this book appeal to?
Well, I have to stress it's for adults only. There's adult material in. You see, I had a little reservations because the cover looks like it's a little bit like Harry Potter type thing, and it could be child audience, but no, it's specifically for adults.
Okay. And how long did it actually take you to write this book from start to finish? Because it's how many pages is there in this book? There's a lot.
There is. I think there's over 100,000 words.
Wow, it's 447 pages.
Yeah. 2003 and 2004, I started writing it. I left it on the shelf until last year. I came back with renewed perspective, read it, thought some of it reads well, but some of it needs amending. So I rigorously rewrote it, submitted it to my publisher, and much to my delight, they approved it. So
okay, that was good. And how are sales going so far? Because it was released early this year, wasn't it? So
it was fairly... late July, actually. Okay. It was delayed. Yeah, I mean, It's modest sales. I haven't got great expectations, but I'm getting positive feedback. I've had people buy it in America and Europe as well, and there's quite a few people around here expressed an interest, and I'm pleased how it's going.
Yeah, and it just takes time for these things to sometimes get off the ground and spread the word out there, doesn't it?
Definitely. It takes time to get your name known, yes.
Exactly. Small steps, Michael, small steps.
Yes.
Now, you said earlier that life experiences and the people you meet helps you put these words on paper. What do you enjoy most about writing?
Well, it's very cathartic. I mean, for instance, I had a problem with authority figures a few years ago, and I thought they were abusing their position, a particular individual, and I thought I could get that off my chest by including that in the novel. Mm-hmm. Again, obviously, I wouldn't make it obvious who it was, but it's kind of therapeutic that you can put it down on paper and leave it there, so it's not cankering inside you.
Excellent, excellent. And what's next in the pipeline? Any more writing? Any more books?
I've got a book of short stories and poems, and I'm thinking there's been a lot of requests for a children's book, and I've got enough material for that as well.
Wonderful. Michael, I wish you all the best with your future progress. Thank you very much for coming in this Monday evening.
Thank you very much.
Join me after the break when Jack brings us a roundup of all the latest sporting action and Ted Stanley and Curtis Hogarth about creative writing. Welcome back. You're watching Estuary News. Still to come tonight, Jack brings us a roundup of all the latest sporting action, and I'll be talking to Curtis Hogarth and Ted Stanley about creative writing. Essential road repairs are now underway on Newland Avenue in Hull. The avenue will be closed to traffic to allow carriageway maintenance works to be conducted. There are no restrictions on pedestrians accessing the avenue for the duration of the works, which will take 6 weeks to complete. Yorkshire is among the cheapest place in the country to buy a pint. The study by the Good Pub Guide has revealed that the average pint costs £3.31 in the region. London is no longer the most expensive place, with Surrey overtaking the capital as the most expensive area to buy a drink. A pint there will cost £4.40. A spokesperson from the Hull and East Yorkshire campaign for Real Ale Group said tourism from Hull 2017 will allow microbreweries to keep their prices down. The inaugural Scampton Air Show has been hailed a success. More than 50,000 people attended the two-day event, which took place over the weekend. Around 100 aircraft was on display, and there was a 5-hour flypast featuring the Red Arrows. It's the first air show in Lincolnshire since the end of Waddington 3 years ago. And keeping the literary theme today, I'm joined now by Ted Stanley and Curtis Hogarth from Hammond House to talk about some exciting developments in the 2017 writing competitions. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Welcome to the programme. Thank you very much indeed for coming in. First of all, Ted, what's happening with Hammond House?
Well, we've got some quite exciting things going on. We've got our first children's book being published in December. We've got our first film in pre-production. But probably what people are most likely to want to know now is about our international writing competitions. And I'm pleased to say we've extended the deadline for all 3 categories until the 30th of September. So there's still time to enter, and you can do that at www.hammondhousepublishing.com. Wonderful.
So about 3 weeks for people to get their entries submitted.
Yeah.
And good luck to all those taking part. What are the competition categories?
The short story competition, which is our very popular one that ran last year, that's sponsored by the University Centre Grimsby, and that results in the publication of the top 25 stories in an anthology. And this is last year's anthology, Conflict. This year's anthology is Eternal. And that's joined by a poetry competition, which has the same publication of the top entries. But probably our most exciting development is a screenplay competition, which is being judged by 2 of the lecturers here at the University Centre Grimsby, Paul Lewis and Dan Carter. And they're joined by one of the most exciting young directors in the region, Curtis Hogarth.
Wonderful. Curtis,
nice,
how exciting. How did you get involved then, Curtis, with Hammond House?
Well, being a recent graduate from the University Centre Grimsby, I heard about Hammond House, and I knew what they were doing with the community, and as soon as that opportunity came up to join, I jumped at it.
Excellent. Excellent. So what are you looking forward to about being on this panel and choosing these potential winners?
I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of scripts people make, the stories they come up with, really the imaginations that people can have.
Okay. So to those viewers watching out there who may want to submit an entry for this competition, what's the best piece of advice you'd give them? What kind of skills and attributes do they need to qualify?
Really all you need is a good script. I know it sounds easy to say, but it's as simple as that. Write something that's original, well conceived, has good character development, and other than that, just kind of write what you want to write.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. Competition categories?
Competition categories are short story competition, poetry competition, which is new this year, and the screenplay competition. So all three categories, and all available to entry at, as I've said, www.hammondhousepublishing.com.
Great plug. Screenplay then, would you say this is specifically for people with an interest in screenplays and screenwriting, those who perhaps want to propel it to like the next level of their career?
Yeah. I'd say mainly for new screenwriters. It's a great opportunity for screenwriters to have their vision produced and then potentially entered into an award-winning film festival.
Okay, so there's lots of scope for development, I guess.
Oh yeah, yes. Definitely.
Runner-up prizes. What are the runner-up prizes? Obviously there'll be a coveted winner, but what about the runners-up, Ted?
Well, the runners-up also get their films made, but just a trailer of their film, a 1-minute trailer, but that's a really useful calling card when they're talking to directors and film companies and agents, right? So they've got something they can show them to showcase their work. So even the runner-up prizes are very valuable.
And commendable.
I won't give any secrets away, but because the screenplay competition is new this year, we haven't been inundated by entries yet. Right, so there's a very good chance of winning if people want to submit an entry.
Excellent. Do we know how many roughly so far?
I wouldn't want to give that away.
But we've got about 3 weeks.
But the most interesting entries we've had is 3 from Los Angeles. Right, so Hollywood comes to Grimsby. So we're really pleased about that. But we have had, across the range of competitions, the poetry, the short story and the screenplay, we've had entries literally from all over the world, from Oslo, from Pakistan, from Japan, from North America, South America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. It's a really, truly international range of competitions.
From all over the globe wanting to take part. Curtis, what did you enjoy most about your course and how will that help you with your future aspirations?
Mainly what it helped me realise that what I wanted to do was film. It gave me that ambition to go out and do what I wanted, as well as the knowledge to go and do that.
Okay, fantastic. Now, this year's theme is Eternal. Why have we chosen that particular theme?
A good question, and I don't really have the answer. We just feel that rather than saying, write whatever you want, giving people a theme, right, it gives them a little bit of starting point as a thought for their ideas. It's not prescriptive, and if somebody writes something that isn't obviously about eternal, it's not going to mean that we're not going to take it into the competition. So it's designed just to inspire people to write something that phrase or that word brings to mind.
And it will conjure up lots of different things.
Absolutely. It means different things to different people. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so Ted, a dab hand at this. What one tip would you give to the viewers out there to make the entries?
Get them in before the 30th of September.
Simple as that. And the website one more time, quickly.
It's www.hammondhousepublishing.com.
Wonderful. All the best, guys. Thank you very much for coming in. Now here's Jack with all the sport.
The Robins secured their return to the Super League on Saturday with a performance packed with spirit and determination. It secured their victory over Widnes. Coaching his 700th game, Tim Sheens recalls Jordan Abdul alongside Jamie Ellis in the halfbacks. Chris Clarkson made his 200th appearance in the back row. The Red and Whites got the game underway and their defence was given an early examination by Widnes, who had the better of the early exchanges. There was little to separate the two sides after the tightest of first halves, and the Robins looked to get on the front foot right from the restart. The Red and Whites kept battling and hung on to secure a famous win. They also secured the club's immediate return for the Super League for 2018. Widnes lost 6-12 to the Robins. OFC's Danny Houghton feels Friday's display against Wigan Warriors will stand them in good stead for the remainder of the Super 8s. The club fell to a narrow loss at the hands of Warriors on the Friday night at the KCOM Stadium, playing the majority of the game with 12 men after Liam Watts was dismissed in the first half. Hull were ahead when Manu Fanoa crossed for his second late on in the second 40, but Anthony Gelling's second and John Batesman's score denied the Black and Whites the victory. Lee Radford's men have one more home game of the Super 8s, which comes this Thursday night, when Yorkshire rivals Wakefield Trinity visit, hoping to keep their aspirations of a playoff berth. It will be the last home game for the departing trio Gareth Ellis, Mane Fanoa and Steve Michaels. Scunthorpe United's new signing will be out for action for at least 3 weeks. It follows an injury from training on Thursday when Andrew Crofts twisted his ankle. The midfielder joined the club one day after the transfer window shut as he was released from his contract with Charlton Athletic. The Irons will be back in action tomorrow evening at home to Blackburn Rovers. Kick-off is at 7:45. Grimsby Town will be looking to bounce back after a heavy 4-1 defeat to Mansfield on Saturday. The defeat means Grimsby slipped to 17th in the league and will be looking to secure a crucial victory away at Accrington Stanley. Kick-off for that one is at 7:45. The Owls continued their impressive league form with a 2-0 win over Market Drayton Town on Saturday. It was another fantastic result for the Owls, who made it 6 wins out of 6 in the league this season despite the rainy conditions. Ferriby entertained Spennymoor Town on Tuesday. The villagers desperately need a victory or else they may be cast adrift at the bottom of the Vanarama National League North. The game kicks off 7:45 tomorrow at the Eon Visual Media Stadium. And that's all for the sport.
Thanks very much, Jack. That's it for tonight. As always, if you have a news story you think we should be covering, then please get in touch via Facebook or Twitter. You can email news@estuary.tv or phone our news desk, which is a Grimsby number 01472315553, or put pen to paper and write to us at Estuary TV, Nuns Corner, Laceby Road, Grimsby, North East Lincolnshire, DN34 5BQ. From all of us on the team, have a great Monday evening. We'll see you live at 5:30 tomorrow.